Patrick Stonelake. I'd like to thank you all for attending this webinar about what is now performance analytics, something we're very excited about here at Fruition because we've had a long relationship with the technology as Mirror 42 under our partnership with those fine folks. So we are looking forward to explaining a little bit about Fruition, how we came to select Mirror 42 as a business intelligence partner for ServiceNow, and how we're going to be continuing our relationship with the technology under the umbrella of ServiceNow, which we're very excited about. So a little bit about who's going to be talking to you today. I will very quickly clear off the line and let you talk to people that know some stuff. I am the Vice President of Business Development for Fruition. I'm also one of two founders of the company. We've been in business for about 10 years, and in that time, I've worked with a lot of technology partners, and especially during the last 5 or 6, we've been seeking technology that pairs up with ServiceNow natively. Of which Mirror 42 ended up being an ideal fit for that. Then we're going to talk to Mike DePolis. Mike was part of the evaluation team that looked at the Mirror 42 technology a couple of years ago. He's our consulting practice lead. He's also the lead architect for our service management accelerator implementations of ServiceNow, which is something that the performance analytics technology fits well into. Chris Myers is our implementations lead and leads our focus for the performance analytics technology under ServiceNow. He's going to give you a demonstration that gives you a broad sense of the capabilities, understands why Fruition selected the technology to begin with, and some of the deeper dive capabilities that the tool has. So we're going to look at the background of the relationship a little bit and Fruition. We're going to take an overview with Mike, and we're going to look at the scorecards and dashboards and how this helps you from a business perspective take the operational data that accumulates in ServiceNow and make strategic decisions based on it. And then Chris is going to go through a technical demo of the technology, including what you see there. So who's Fruition? We are a cloud service management company. We've been in business for 10 years. Most of that as IT service management consultants. For the last 5 or 6, we have been dedicated to ServiceNow as a technology partner in the ITSM space. That has led to 350 plus ServiceNow implementations, 70 plus platform as a service implementations on top of ServiceNow. That's various combinations of ITSM and service management outside of IT using the ServiceNow platform. We've also focused very heavily on the kind of next steps or next phases of ServiceNow activity for our customers. That includes integrations. We've got a 100-plus list of integrations that are at various levels of packaging and cohesiveness that we can reuse from one customer to another. We've worked with a number of channel partners and ISVs, of which Mirror 42 was one before they got acquired by ServiceNow. And we have a number of technicians whose job it is to make sure that this technology integrates in a seamless way and maintain the connectors that we build for ServiceNow as ServiceNow continues to release 2 to 3 releases per year. A little bit more about us and who we are now. We are now over 200 people. ServiceNow has really fueled our growth over the course of the last 5 years. We debuted on the Inc. 5000 list at number 480 this year, which is kind of crazy, but we're very, very excited about that. We've been able to take our service management focus and our ability to blend technologies together to service a number of really blue chip customers as they use ServiceNow as the backbone of a cloud service management strategy. The service lines are comprehensive, so we go from the process consulting arena, which is Mike DePolis and his team and what they do in the original roots of the company, through specialized implementation and integration methodology that allows us to tell our customers the best way to do things in ServiceNow based on our shared experience having solved a bunch of challenges for our 350 plus implementation customers. We also, as I said, explore platform as a service development for the customers that are mature enough to reach beyond incident, problem, change, PPM, etc. And we provide end-to-end managed services and support from not only the ITSM components of ServiceNow, but also our integrations and any ad hoc application development that our customers request. All of this is part of a Fruition Cloud bundle. This is the kind of complicated logo slide. But you can see that our thesis is that ServiceNow is the best kind of ERP for IT platform that underlies integrations with other strategic technologies within our customers' organizations. You can see down there in the corner that business intelligence has been a focus of ours in terms of making the operational data from ServiceNow strategic. That Mirror 42 logo down there now is fully supported by ServiceNow as performance analytics. That technology has been more deeply integrated into the ServiceNow toolset than it even was before, and it already was, as Mirror 42 was very dedicated to the ServiceNow platform. So we're looking forward to making performance analytics part of our ServiceNow delivery, including other advanced ServiceNow concepts such as PPM, GRC, and ServiceNow Discovery. So I think I'm going to hand over to Mike DePolis now, and he can tell us a little bit more about the technology and the way that our customers see benefit from using it.
Excellent. Thank you, Patrick, and hello, everyone. I'll just go ahead and make sure I get my slide up here. All right, thanks. Appreciate everyone joining. What I'd like to do is take just a few minutes to talk a bit of a high level about kind of this, what performance analytics is, what the core structure of it is, and get some context around what the tool looks like at a high level, as well as some of the things that Fruition Partners is doing with it. And then we'll go ahead and hand over to Chris to do an actual demo of the product. At its core, performance analytics is metrics and dashboarding and reporting capabilities over and above that will enhance the out-of-box ServiceNow reporting functions. Some of the core examples of that would be things like advanced trending reports. We can do trending over time with percentages and other dimensions that we can't do with the stock out-of-box ServiceNow reporting. Also include some features such as trend indicators, so we can very easily see for any given metric or KPI which way is it trending, and by the way, is that the proper way that it should be trending, so we can get a very easy view of, are we improving in our operations or are we declining in our operations, and where is that occurring. Another nice feature set is a single source for multiple dashboards. And Chris will show this in more detail, but on a single screen you can get to all of the relevant information and to understand your operations and understand where we're improving, where we are potentially declining and may need to take some action. Another really nice feature is what's called value indicators. Value indicators are essentially an index of a number of KPIs. So if you were to think about, for example, the stock market, and you look at the various indexes such as the Dow or the S&P, it's really deriving an overall value statement from the individual indicators of the company that make up companies that make up that particular index. This is the same concept, but this is done for the operational processes that we run in our everyday life. So, for example, we could put together a number of indicators such as how quickly we're resolving incidents, how often we're doing that within SLA, even roll in some customer satisfaction scores. We can combine all of these factors into a single index to say that for a given process such as incident management, we're really improving overall in how we're doing it, or hopefully not, but potentially we're declining and we may need to take a look at some various actions. Another real benefit of performance analytics is the amount and number and more importantly the type of the prepackaged reports that are included within the product. Performance analytics in and of itself has a number of the very core and key meaningful metrics, and Fruition Partners has even augmented this with our own custom metrics over and above that set, with really a keen eye on focusing on the important stuff, making sure we're staying away from metrics for metrics' sake, but really drilling in on the most important factors for our operations. And then lastly, but certainly not least, is it's completely integrated within ServiceNow. So we're not having to step out into some other reporting tool, going to separate places to find reports. We can go to our one-stop shop within ServiceNow and view all of this important data right there, seamlessly integrated, just another area that we're clicking within the application. So there's three main components to performance analytics. There's the scorecards, dashboards, and messages. Scorecards are the individual metrics or KPIs that we're going to measure. So average time to resolve, mean time to repair, incidents caused from problems, the individual KPIs that we're measuring. We'll look at those in a little more detail in a second. Those roll up into dashboards, not unlike dashboards that we're all used to, but again, some of the nice features is if you look at kind of the middle graphic here, you can see the tabs across the top, and we can very easily pull in all of the relevant information in one place to take a look at how we're doing within a given process area or a given function. And there's numerous ways to display it. As you can see, we have certain trend lines, we have gauges, we have the individual scorecards down below that we can take a look at. And then lastly are messages. Messages are very simply a way to communicate about the metrics and about what the scorecards, I should say, are telling us. So we can compile and mark our favorite scorecards. We can make commentary, not unlike live feed in ServiceNow, and have kind of an ongoing conversation about the scorecards and about what the scorecards are telling us. So to look a little deeper within the scorecards, this is a subset of the scorecards that are included within the performance analytics product. We can see on the left the name or the definition of the actual metric, such as percentage of incidents closed by first assigned group. We get a miniature chart that shows our trending over time. The actual values, so we can see that 51.5% of incidents were closed by the first assigned group. And then we see where it's headed. We have had an increase of 4.8% since the last reporting period. So this is our list view of the individual scorecards, and we could look at it this way, or ultimately we'll probably roll many of these up into the dashboards. But before we get there, a little bit more on scorecards. If I was to click into any one of the scorecards that we see here, we can get some additional data about it. So you can see we have a more detailed trend. We can actually see the dates here and get a little more information than we could from the summarized view on the last screen. And we can also see some additional information such as the value indication and the target, so our target level that we want to be at in the differential. And Chris will show this all in more detail within the actual product. Also included with the scorecards is this detail tab that you see here. This defines really what the scorecard is and what it means. So we have the name, and then more importantly, we have a description. And the description will explain how the scorecard works, what it's really measuring. And the other nice feature that you can use the description for is to put in what I call action statements. So when we package up or develop metrics, for ourselves or one of our clients, what we like to do is include a number of action statements with them. So we don't only have the scorecard or the measurement, but then we also have 4 or 5 bullet points or sentences or potentially even paragraphs that talk about if this metric is not doing well, what are some of the things that we need to look at? What are some of the actions that we can take to improve it? On some of the metrics that's fairly obvious, but on other metrics it's not necessarily obvious, and it's nice to have kind of a run book of actions that we can take to improve this metric or address it if it's declining. And then also for the really data hungry, we can see the actual formula behind the scorecard down below. All of these scorecards also have breakdowns. So if we were to look at such a scorecard here as open incidents or incidents resolved by first line, whatever the scorecard is, we can quickly drill in and get into this data and see it by group, by business service, by state or priority, however we want to slice that. We can go ahead and break it down into those individual areas. So here, for example, I can see open incidents by group. I could easily flip that over and do incidents by business service as well. Dashboards are the collection, again, of our scorecards. It's kind of our one-stop shop for looking at our data. And we'll see some more examples of this, but there are a number of nice ways you can summarize the data and easily see trending, and pull the data together to see how our operations are handling. Lastly is messages. I mentioned before, this is kind of similar to live feed within ServiceNow, but it's within messages that I could comment on a metric. I could comment on if the scorecard is valuable to me or not. I could comment on a declining scorecard and have kind of a call to action to talk about what we would want to do with it. And Chris will show you a little bit more here. Last thing before I hand off to Chris to do the demo is talk a little bit about how we use this and how we've been able to provide value through this. This product actually plays wonderfully in with some of the other value-add services that we have, one of which is called 5-till ITIL. 5-till ITIL is a rapid assessment and roadmap offering that we have, where we will come into your organization, understand how you're operating, and most importantly, we'll deliver back a roadmap of improvements to follow over the next year, 2 years to 3 years. And part of that offering is that we're very goal-centric with it. So we come in, we understand your goals, we understand your pain points, and then in addition to a roadmap of improvements, we actually deliver back a set of customized scorecards and KPIs and metrics that tie back to your goals and actually develop into dashboards, so you can go to a dashboard for each goal that you have and very easily see how you're progressing towards that goal and how you're improving. Performance analytics really helps with that. It helps enable that, allows us to visualize that data and visualize your progress towards those goals in a very easy format. We've also mapped everything that you're seeing here and about to see to our Service Management Accelerator, so that we can, with the data model that we have put into the Service Management Accelerator, which is our pre-configured instance and implementation methodology, we can very easily see and take benefit of the data model that we have built into there, so you can really focus on the core of your operations. With that, I will go ahead and hand over to Chris so that he can get into the actual demo.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Mike, for passing it my way. Before I go do the demo, I'm going to talk about, a little bit about how it integrates with your ServiceNow instance and how else you can put information into your Mir42 instance. For the time being, granted, this is an ever-evolving process with ServiceNow acquiring Mir42, but then for the time being, the way that the data will be collected from your ServiceNow instance and put into your Mir42 is through a wizard that will run off your desktop, Windows or PC or Mac machine. So when you become a client and you will receive XML files, those XML files will be put through a wizard, and then it's a quick 2 or 3 step process that you will go through to collect your data. Takes about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how much data you have. Could take a little bit longer, also depending on if you want to grab historical data, that kind of thing. It's a simple walkthrough. It starts with Mir42 has created a quick API for that, and it runs, like I said, within 5 minutes if you do a quick 1-day scan, and it could be a couple hours if we're talking about historical data. There's other ways to also put data into your ServiceNow analytics. You can upload Excel sheets. So if you have a Mir42 instance and you have the need to import Excel sheets, you can do that as well. And then there's also the ability to manually add scores into the indicator or scorecards. Okay. I will not be showing that. I'll run a brief, quick see on how to enter scores manually, but we will not be going over the wizard today. Okay, so for the demo, I'm going to start in our Fruition instance, so you can see what it looks like when it's hooked up into ServiceNow, and we will go through, what the scorecards look like, what can I do inside ServiceNow, how is it integrated, and then we'll kind of jump over to the Mir42 instance and show you kind of the other side, and then we'll finish up with a little quick way of how to add scores into an indicator. That way, when you get a Mir42 demo instance or you want to go play on the demo instance, you can see how those scores work. Okay? So just like Mike showed on his slides, when you log into ServiceNow, you're able to actually integrate the ServiceNow Performance Analytics into your instance. This requires a role, so there's security around it, or you can expose it however you see fit in your organization. It's an update set that we install, so I've installed our update set here, and with that update set, we have installed 3 modules in an application. Obviously, the scorecards, dashboards, and messages is what we've gone over in our slides. So I'm not going to waste too much time on the definition and kind of show you more along the lines of the features and how that kind of plays inside ServiceNow. So within ServiceNow, you have the scorecards you can click into, and they will appear inside your iframe. And you can look at everything just like you were able to, like Mike showed on his slide deck. So we're able to look at details, breakdowns, any of the messages that are part of the chart, and then we can switch charts just like inside our Mir42 instance. One nice feature of this is we can actually save and print straight from the screen. If you click Save as PDF, that will allow you to save this scorecard onto your computer as a PDF, and you can print straight from here in case you need to take that along with you to a meeting or away from your computer. Also, there's a search capability, so I'm going to type in open incidents so we can see how we can search for an open incident. And if I click on that, you'll see that the search tool will find my open incidents indicator, and if I click on this, I've now brought open our indicator yet again. Now, the one thing I want to kind of highlight here is smart links. This is the integration to the data within your tool. So if I click on this open incidents link, you'll see that it opened up a new window where I now can see all the open incidents in the tool. So just to kind of take the scorecard one step further, if you set up your smart links inside the tool and you integrate, you can then also see the data behind the scorecard. All right. Some things about an indicator. So I'm going to go actually back to our Mir42 instance so we can see the admin side of the Mir42 indicators. So I'm going to find my same indicator that I found inside my instance, open instance. We're going to open that one up, and we can see the nuts and the bolts of the indicator. Okay. And as I open this, you'll see this is the admin view. We're able to put descriptions, put tags on that. So tags for the messages work just like hashtags in Twitter and social media, where you're able to identify keyword searches, that kind of thing, where people can actually, if they don't know the name of the indicator, they can create new tags for that, and those hashtags will also appear in your messages. You can identify contributors. If you have a certain person that has contributed to that indicator and you want it to show up on their scorecard or create a scorecard strictly for them, you would assign an indicator. One of the really unique things is we can assign targets. So that's kind of how we can see visually what target we want to hit. And on the scorecards, you'll see the targets then show up as these green lines. So you see some, how well you're doing for those targets. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my scorecard. So for most of the scorecards, you'll have scores, and you'll see this is all the data collected. So you'll be able to see what the data was collected, over the period of time. If you have a scorecard that is a trend report, so the number of closed changes causing new incidents, you'll actually have to write what's called a formula. And the formulas are very easy within Mir42. You simply browse for an indicator. So you'll browse for base indicator. So closed changes, closed incidents, open incidents, that kind of thing. Something that's going to return data for you to do a formula. And as you select it, they'll appear here in the formula, and you can test the formula using basic math. And once that formula is set, you save it, and then you can double-click into your indicator, And when your formula returns correctly, you will see a graph. So there's a bunch of different ways to create indicators rather than simply just give me all the open incidents, give me all the closed incidents. You can do these trending reports using formulas of those baseline indicators. Just to kind of go over the messages, I know Mike touched over this. You can see this is kind of like a Facebook, Twitter feed where you can put your hashtag and write about that, and it will save. So if I say, hey there, and post it, it will then show up here. You can do the same thing inside ServiceNow. Okay? So to kind of go over the dashboard, I guess, piece of this. So the dashboards in ServiceNow can give you a one-stop shop of all your basic reporting. The nice thing that Mir42 takes to that next level is the ability to tab and the ability to save those tabs and print off of those tabs or email those tabs to somebody else. This is useful as, you know, if you need to print off a sheet for a CAB agenda or a CAB meeting or you know, a problem manager meeting. You'll set up these tabs, and you can set up as many dashboards as you want. So for ones we've set up here is most of the disciplines. But basically, you create your indicators, and you'll put these indicators and trend charts on the dashboards, and then put them in the organize them into tabs, so that you can have one place where all of the data you need for your discipline is. And like I said, you can save to your computer, print, or email to take with you if you need to take it off the system. The messages. So the messages inside ServiceNow are no different than what you just saw me do with the scorecard. As soon as they load, you can post about anything. You see here's the available indicator tags that I talked about. So if you wanted to talk about change management, you would simply click on that and it will put it into your post. And this is a good way for technicians to talk about things, for your end users to post questions for technicians, that kind of thing. Now obviously, since ServiceNow now has acquired Mir42, this is going to kind of bleed into social IT. We do not know how yet. That is down the road. But I'm sure that it will be a flavor of this to the way with ServiceNow branding. The last thing that I want to show here, and I know I'm breezing over this, so obviously there'll be time for questions at the end. I want to show, you know, how do we add scores if we want to add to baseline indicators. So I'm going to go to close changes. Okay, and let it load and find our close changes. Well, let's say I just want to create an indicator and I want to just add scores manually. I don't want this indicator to be integrated with ServiceNow. Let's see here, it's loading. You'll also notice here on the right side while that's loading, if you see a sigma on the right side, you will notice that that's a indicator that is a formula. If the indicator is not a formula, you will see a scores link, which you're about to see here in a second. If I can pull up this close changes indicator, okay, it's not cooperating. So let's try another one. Let's try open instance. So I'm having a problem with my internet access right now, but the point is you can manually add scores, adding numbers just like you would in an Excel sheet. Oop, there it goes. I finally have lost my internet connection. I apologize. The point is that you can go on the Mir42 website, and there's a demo site, so you can try everything that you've just seen here, minus the data collection to a ServiceNow instance. Those of you that will become Mir42 customers, you will notice that the update set will have an integration. It's an easy integration where you'll just simply add a code to a field, and install an update set. So the integration is very quick, and very seamless. But I'm going to pass this back to our host, and he will be fielding questions for the remainder.
Yeah, thanks for that, Chris. This is Mike Henderson, by the way, with communications here over at Fruition. Apologies for the internet outage here, but I believe Chris is pretty close to wrapping things up anyway. So if you have any specific questions or follow-ups for Chris, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to accommodate you and help you out and do a quick kind of demo for you. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and switch back to my screen just so we can close this out. Actually, it looks like everybody's getting back a lot of time today, so that is a good thing. So in the meantime, while I'm changing back to my screen, I would appreciate it if would appreciate if folks would send in some questions if you have any. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Yeah, thanks everybody for your patience. So yeah, here we go. So here's our closeout slide. So as I was saying earlier, if you have any questions, specific to the Mir42 technology or performance analytics with ServiceNow, give us a holler. You can either send Mike, Patrick, or Chris a personal note, or send us an email to tpp@fruitionpartners.com. So I do want to say thanks again, though, to Patrick, Chris, and Mike for sharing their knowledge today, but a special thanks to everybody out there today who joined in and participated. So again, much appreciated. Just so you know, a recording and PDF of today's deck will be shared probably next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday. We have a long weekend, holiday weekend, which is something we're celebrating. So enjoy that, but look for a follow-up blast from us with recording PDF, a little summary of what the presentation was about, and then also our next webinars.
Hi, Mike.
Yep.
Sorry not to interrupt, but I do see some questions coming in here. I'm not sure if you were going to go back and address them.
Yep. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, let's jump in and take a look. Appreciate the heads up. So yeah, we do have a few questions. Thanks, guys, for actively participating. So Mike and Chris, who are still with us on the Fruition side, I'm going to go ahead and read these out loud for you, but also for the rest of the audience, so you can hear what others are asking. So one question, and Mike and Chris, feel free, either of you, to volunteer to take this. What do I, as a current ServiceNow customer, set up the performance analytics module in our instance? So I'm assuming that's where do you set up the performance analytics module? So current customer.
So when you decide to install Mir42 in ServiceNow, in the future it's going to be a plugin. For the time being, you will receive an update set from the performance analytics team. You will install that update set, and you will receive a set of install instructions with a what's called a customer secret code. When you install that update set, it's going to actually put a module in your system security application where you'll put the Mir42 instance URL and your secret code. And once you've submitted that, the integration will then take place and allow you to see your scorecards and dashboards and messages inside that application that you've installed. So it's very easy. It's a 4 to 5 step process, takes less than 10 minutes, and right now it's very seamless. I'm sure once ServiceNow and the PA team have a chance to kind of decide how they want to make this a ServiceNow product, it'll be even more seamless. So.
Yeah, Juan, thanks again for the question. If you still need some more details, again, feel free to follow up with Chris individually or Mike or any of us. The good thing about GoToWebinar is it actually records and keeps track of all the incoming questions. So we'll actually be sure to follow up with each of you individually after this too, just to make sure your question was answered, you know, to its fullest. So next question coming in regarding cost. So is there an additional cost to obtain this, or does it come with ServiceNow and you just kind of add it as a plugin? Either Mike or Chris, and if we don't have an answer to that right now, that's fine. We'll follow up with you separately. And this question's coming from Kim, so thanks, Kim, for your
Currently there is extra cost to this. How much and what it is, you'll have to follow up with either a Fruition salesperson or a ServiceNow salesperson. But there is an additional cost currently for this.
We have a question coming from Rick. Rick's asking, when viewing chart or scorecard, can you quickly change parameters on the fly?
At the current moment, the way it sits, no. So all this is SQL. So when you set up your scorecards and your dashboards with your indicators, you will have to actually use the wizard that you'll receive from PA, or Performance Analytics team. I'm sorry, I'm using my jargon there. And you will have to actually adjust the SQL in the background. From what I've heard from the PA team, that's probably going to be a little more streamlined than before, so you're not having to query the database each time. But for the time being, you do have to write an SQL statement to create your baseline indicators. Now, with that being said, if you wanted to adjust a trend report with a formula, you could do that on the fly. So like you saw the percentage of changes that were from an incident. Those you could adjust on the fly. Open incidents, you would have to actually adjust the SQL through the wizard.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we got a couple more coming in. So again, thanks everybody for participating here. So question from Sergio, and thanks for the question, Sergio. How do you pull in the information? So I think that goes back to like that last integration slide you were talking about before we went to the demo. So how do you pull in the information, or don't you pull it in at all?
So basically, there is a data collection piece that we did not show today, simply because it takes too much time to do. Basically, when you sign up for Mir42 or your Performance Analytics, you will receive a folder full of XML templates and a wizard to install those templates. You will then run a batch job to pull the data from ServiceNow and into your Mir42 instance. That could take, like I said, 5 to 3 hours, depending on, you know, if you want historical data or not. And 3 hours isn't just the ceiling; it could be even longer, depending on how much data you're pulling. But basically, it's all done through a batch job once you set up your templates through the wizard. That I've heard some rumors. We don't know if they're not confirmed, nor do we know if they're true, but that could be changing down the road. They're giving a 6 to 8 month timeline before they even roll this out with ServiceNow branding. So I know the way you see it on the webinar today, and the way that I'm talking about it for the next 6 to 8 months, that's how you would do it.
Great, thanks. And it looks like Juan actually had a follow-up question. So if folks are interested in, you know, the Mir42 technology, performance analytics, that kind of technology, they will need a separate Mir42 account as well?
Yes, so for the time being, Mir42 will have its own instance. So you will, when you sign up for Mir42, you get a Mir42 instance. you'll have an account in your Mir42 instance and your ServiceNow instance. Again, for the next 6 to 8 months, this is how they have it set up. We don't have any information as to how that will change, you can, as far as if you're asking, do we need to hook up LDAP and all that, that's pretty much all up in the air. But yes, you will need to have a username inside Mir42 to be able to see indicators inside ServiceNow.
And then, yeah, thanks again, Quan, for the follow-up. So we'll take one more question here, and for those questions that we didn't get to or we didn't answer fully, we'll be sure to follow up with you separately. So thanks again. So one more question real quick from Gilbert. Gilbert's asking, did I hear correctly that it can be configured so that non-enrolled ServiceNow users can create reports? If so, is there a risk of the report slowing performance?
So to answer the second part of that question, is there a risk of reports slowing performance? No, because currently you are pulling that data from the Mir42 instance, not your own. There is the possibility, there's actually, unless you put all of your end users inside your Mir42 instance, they cannot create indicators. They can just view them, or reports, if you will. So when I said that you can allow end users to view them, it was just simply that application and module where they can click on them and view the stats and all the stuff behind it, as far as what data it comes from. They are not able to edit. They are not able to create. That's all an admin function or a contributor function inside Mir42. So think of contributor that would equal your ITIL user inside ServiceNow. And you cannot, one thing currently is, you have to have access to the wizard to even create an indicator because you have to write the SQL statement. So right now it's at a level of knowledge of SQL. However, with that being said, that down the road, 6 to 8 months timeline could be changing.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, again, thanks to everybody else. So expect, as I was saying earlier, expect a follow-up blast sometime early next week with a copy of the deck, the recording. And again, any questions, we'll follow up with you individually if we didn't get to it today. But feel free to be proactive, reach out to us, send a note to the email address up on the screen. And then again, our next webinar is scheduled for September 12th, and it's entitled Map Your IT Future with 5-til ITIL. And just a little summary of what 5-til ITIL is. It's pretty much, we're basically going to cover the importance of creating a roadmap to, I guess, prioritize and improve your service management investment. So it should be a very high value webinar. Actually, Mike DePolis is going to be talking through that, and you heard a little bit from him today. So you'll be in good company. So thank you again, and enjoy your Labor Day weekend, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.